Well, not every episode can be like the first three. Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? It's Auto About Mike 18 here with another TV episode review. Guys, I just finished watching the newest episode of The Walking Dead. That's right guys, it's Sunday night. That means it is Walking Dead night. I am continuing with these episode reviews. This was episode 4, so we have 4 more episodes left, guys. 4 more weeks. Wow, it went by pretty fast, actually, believe it or not. You know, it's probably because the first 3 episodes were really, really good, and this one, Anyway, guys, so tonight's episode of The Walking Dead was Season 5, Episode 4, Slabtown. And in case you guys haven't seen it yet, just to let you know, give you an advance warning, spoiler heavy. So if you haven't seen the episode, definitely don't watch this video. Come back after you watch it, then, because I'm going to spoil everything. Even though, honestly, like, if you watch this video before you watch the episode, I mean, nothing really major happens in regards to the plot in correlation with the main group, you know, like Rick's group, because this episode just focuses on Beth. However, the ending of the episode is, of course, as most unexciting episodes of The Walking Dead is definitely the best part of the episode, and I'm going to get into that. And it's not that this episode was unexciting, I just think that I don't know, it's just, yeah, I guess I would say unexciting. It's just, you know what, it's just the first 3 episodes were so off the charts, so out of control. It's just to have the show kind of go back to an episode like this, a very slow episode, especially for the first like 20 minutes or so. I really didn't kick in and get going until about halfway through. You know, it aired at 9, and then it really didn't get going until about the 9:30 mark. You know, they're setting up this place, blah, 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 and I didn't really buy it. But I'm going to get into problems, things I liked with the episode. It wasn't a terrible episode. I think we've had worse episodes, definitely in the past, but it's one of the weaker episodes we've had in a while, which is unfortunate. Nevertheless, guys, let's get into my review. So tonight's episode, guys, finally answered the big question that was on a lot of our minds since the end of season 4, or I should say close to the midpoint of season 4, because it was right around then we lost Beth, and we were asking ourselves, where the hell is Beth? I think it was episode 13 we lost Beth in season 4. Yeah, it was episode 13. The end of the episode, we lost Beth. Apparently, this car sped off. It had a white cross on it, and she was with Daryl, and we lost Beth. Now we know actually where Beth is and what actually happened to her since the end of season 4. She was taken by that car and brought to a hospital in Atlanta. So Beth wakes up in a hospital once the episode starts. The episode literally picks up. We have an extreme close-up. Beth's eyes opening. She's in a hospital. And the thing that I like about the opening scene is that not only did it set where, you know, it showed us Beth's surroundings and it finally revealed that she's, you know, still alive and everything, but it kind of paid homage to the first episode of the whole show when Rick woke up with the coma. Excuse me. And I really liked that. You know, it kind of reminded me of that, and it kind of made me say to myself, wow, it's been so long since that first episode. Look at how far we've come. But now it's focused on Beth. So Beth wakes up in this hospital. She looks out the window, and you literally see Atlanta, and you see the war-destroyed cities, obviously because of this apocalypse. And so you see how much Atlanta has diverted to just crap, basically. And Beth awakens in this place, and she starts banging on the door. 2 people walk in. A doctor by the name of Dr. Stephen Edwards, or Edmonds. I can't remember what he said. He said it right in the beginning, and I missed it, but I believe he said Edwards. So Dr. Stephen Edwards, who's like the main doctor of the hospital, and then we have our main female lead, basically, who's basically like the leader of this group in this hospital, and she's actually a cop, and her name is Dawn Lerner. And she's basically going to be the main antagonist while this whole storyline centers around Beth in this hospital. So basically what's going on, just to sum things up, I'm not going to really get into detail because, in all honesty, in the first half of this episode, nothing exciting really happens. You just have some back and forth of Beth, going to certain patients, blah, 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 setting up this place, but none of it ever was really that exciting, in my opinion. Now, granted, I know I'm going to get some hate from people who might have liked this episode. I watched this episode with family. My brother really enjoyed it. I personally didn't care for it. Now, I know a lot of you who are going to be defending the show. Oh, what do you expect? You want action every single episode? You need a ton of zombie kills every single... No, that's not what I need. But if you're going to take a whole episode and devote it to showing where one character is, then you need to make it exciting. And it wasn't that exciting, especially in the first half. I think things really started to get exciting when the part in the episode comes where the doctor tells Beth to go check in on a patient, and she accidentally kills him, and I'll get into that in a little while. But that's when things really started to pick up, in my opinion. You're like, oh, Beth just did that. Oh, this is going to cause conflict. It's going to cause conflict between her and the lady cop, Dawn. So that's when things really started getting interesting. But everything before that is literally set up, and I don't know what it was. It just didn't really latch on to me, or really didn't get me hooked into the story. Don't get me wrong. I've always liked Beth. I never had any problem with her, and I think it's good that they were finally giving her own episode, to finally center on her. But you know what? They sort of, of course the focus is on Beth. She's the one only original survivor in this group that is connected to Rick's group, our main characters. But, they're introducing all these other characters that I just found either irritating or I just didn't care for. And, the focus sort of goes away from Beth a little bit. It focuses on this Dawn Lerner cop character who really started to get on my nerves. And not in the sort of, oh, she's an antagonist, she's evil sort of way. It's just her values, her beliefs, her fact that she believes this hospital has to work like a system, and the fact that she thinks they're all going to be saved one day. Come on now, it's about 2 years into this apocalypse, a little less than that, about a year and a half into this apocalypse. Is there really anyone out there who believes that the world is going to be saved? No, because it would have happened already. So right off the bat, I didn't buy that, and I really just didn't buy into her character for the most part. Really not a big fan of her. But anyway, Beth gets introduced to everyone at this hospital. There's this really other creepy guy cop named Gorman. She gets introduced. This is one of the best parts of the first half of this episode, which was very lackluster. But... oh man, I was so happy at this. Tyler James Williams was cast as a hospital patient / worker. He's helping around the hospital, whatever. Everyone has to do their fair share around this hospital, apparently. And he's playing Noah. Tyler James Williams, very well known for his work on Everybody Hates Chris, of course. And the whole time I see him in this episode, I just couldn't help but say to myself, "Hey, it's Chris! Hey guys, look, it's Chris!" Oh man, I was getting a kick out of that. It was so awesome. Now they've had 2 actors from Everybody Hates Chris on the show. Tyler James Williams and Vincent Martella, who was killed off in season 4. He was bitten. Patrick played Patrick. Now we have Noah, who's Chris on. Tyler James Williams, who played Chris. But anyway, so Beth sort of befriends him, and we kind of get a backstory on Noah. And honestly, out of all the characters that were introduced tonight, apart from the Doctor, I really cared a lot for Tyler James Williams' character, not just because he's a very good actor and he brings a sort of charm to anything he plays, to any role he plays, but they gave him sort of a backstory, and I bought into it, and I really cared for it. Apparently, it was him and his dad on his own, and the people at the hospital had to pick one and leave the other, and they left the father because he could have been a threat, eventually to the hospital. So they brought Tyler James Williams to this hospital, and I believe it's something Grady Memorial. I wrote it down. Grady Memorial Hospital. There you go. And I really liked that. I thought that was interesting. Introduction of Tyler James' Williams character, and basically they bring in 2 new patients, one girl, and they have to basically cut her arm off. She got bit there, and they bring in another guy patient, and that's really the first half. I'm trying to think of other things. Beth does have an interesting conversation with the Dr. Edwards on the roof of the hospital, and you see, and the whole time, I honestly wasn't even really paying attention to what they were saying because I was so amazed at seeing Atlanta in the background, because we haven't seen Atlanta in a very long time. The last time was, I think, the season 2 finale, maybe? Remember in the beginning of the season 2 finale, they show all the zombies walking around Atlanta? I think that was the last time we actually saw it. Now it looks even more war-torn and just torn down. It looks like a mess. However, it kind of looked like they used green screen for some reason. Like, I don't know, just the effects didn't look perfect. I don't know what that was about. But anyway, that's really the first half, guys. And I don't know. I didn't buy into it. I didn't buy into Dawn Lerner. It honestly was not that exciting at all, and really not that appealing. And I think that the writers were, they had a solid idea of what to do with Beth, how to introduce these characters. I just think that maybe a different approach would have worked. We've seen groups with their own set of rules and their own system. We just saw that in the end of season 4 with Joe's group. You know how they had the whole thing going on with claiming things. Well, this group is the same way, just with a different ideology. It's all about working together and putting in your fair share, and you owe us, blah blah blah. It didn't work for me, guys. It just fell very flat for me, and I didn't care for the new characters. They except for Tyler James Williams, really, they all seemed rather irritating to me, and I just honestly couldn't stand the first half of the episode. Moving on, however, I think things got a little bit more exciting. Come midway in the episode, when the doctor tells Beth to basically check in on a patient, give him a certain medicine. Beth gives him the medicine she is told to give. He ends up having a seizure, and they have to stab him in the head. And Beth obviously gets blamed for this. Tyler James Williams' character, Noah, takes the blame that he, tripped over the ventilator, messed up a wire or whatever. And then they take him to another room and beat the crap out of him. And Beth tells the doctor, "You told me to give him this medicine." And the doctor was like, "No, I told you to give him another medicine. You were wrong. You didn't listen." And it turns out, which is revealed at the end of the episode, I'm just going to say it now, he actually did purposely tell Beth to give him the wrong medicine. The reason why, the patient Beth was treating was a doctor, and he was going to put the other doctor in sort of like a competition, like if that other doctor would have been fairly treated, the one Beth was treating, if this makes any sense to you guys, if he would have came to and got his strength back, the Dr. Edwards would find himself out of the hospital. Dawn wouldn't need him. They'd sort of like cast him out. And it's kind of interesting how, if someone has better skills than you, they'll just like throw you out. Just like get out of here. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So he purposely wanted Beth to kill that patient, and she did. And Beth took the fault for it, and then Tyler James Williams took the fault for it. So basically, Beth and Chris, I'm calling him Chris, decide to escape the hospital about midway through, and they need to obtain the keys from Dawn's office. So, during the workday, Beth sneaks into the office, and she finds the girl who they had to cut her arm off. She's dead on the floor, and apparently she killed herself. And Gorman, the cop, the other male cop, who's very creepy in this episode, walks in on Beth finding the key, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing in here?" And she's like, "Oh, I was told to get something for Dawn." He's like, "I don't believe that's bullshit." So he basically is like, "You know what? I'll keep it a secret." He attempts to rape Beth, but the girl whose arm got cut off, they had to cut her arm off. She starts turning because she killed herself. She's been laying there dead, so now she's going to turn. Beth takes a jar of lollipops, bashes Gorman over the head. He falls to the ground, and then the one-armed girl, who's now a zombie, rips his neck off, which was pretty exciting to see. So Beth does get the key, and she goes and she meets Tyler James. She meets Noah by the elevator shaft. Basically, forgot to mention, they have an elevator shaft where they basically take the dead bodies of the people who die, they throw them down the elevator shaft, really long elevator shaft. So using bed sheets as ropes, they sort of swing down the elevator shaft, and this scene was honestly the most exciting and tension-riddled scene in the whole episode. So, of course, zombies start popping through the walls as Noah starts to go down. Or I'm going to call him Chris. It's Chris, guys. They eventually make it down in the elevator shaft, nevertheless. And Beth did steal a gun from that Gorman cop who got killed in the office by the one-armed zombie girl. And they're trying to get through the exit or whatever, through the elevator shaft, once they had gotten down in the ground level. And Beth starts picking off zombies. And this scene was really cool. I liked how it was shot. You have a shot of darkness, and then Beth fires around, and you have like a flash of white light, from the firing of the gun, and you see the zombie getting hit. So I thought that was pretty cool, the way they did that. That was very interesting. It was different. They find an exit door, and they go out of it, and they're outside in this really slow motion, overexposed scene. It's like they did something to the contrast or whatever, or like the lighting in like post-production or something. Beth and Chris are running outside trying to escape, and they start picking off walkers in the outside, and Beth sort of gets trapped, and Chris runs off and gets through this fence and leaves, and the cops come out, including Dawn and the other cops, and they start firing at the walkers, and they rescue Beth and bring her back into the hospital as the camera lingers on Beth smiling, seeing that Chris got out okay. So I thought that was interesting that he got out and Beth didn't, but obviously I knew they wouldn't let Beth go that quickly. So Beth gets brought back into the hospital, and of course Dawn is going to have a conversation with her, basically telling her, listen, you got to pitch in, and one day we're all going to get rescued, blah, blah, blah. Basically saying the same crap. We're all part of the system. We all need to do our part. And Beth's like, open your eyes, Dawn. We are not going to get saved, okay? It's done. No one is coming for us. She basically tells her the truth. And you can tell by the look on Dawn's face, she's like, I'm not listening to this bitch, okay? I believe someone's going to come save us one day. Someone is going to come save us one day. She slaps Beth around for like the second time in the episode. Whatever. And then basically the final two scenes of the episode, which were a little more exciting. The ending was the best part, obviously, because we finally are going somewhere with this. But the doctor admits to Beth that he had her purposely kill that patient who was another doctor, as I mentioned earlier. And Beth learns this, and she gets pissed off at him. So at the end of the episode, Beth has a knife, and she's going to kill Dr. Edwards. And however, she stops short in the hallway as two doctors begin wheeling in a woman on one of those gurneys or whatever. And we see a shot of the woman on the gurney, and it's Carol. So apparently now we're caught up to the present time when Daryl and Carol went out to go look for Beth. Now we're all caught up, and Beth realizes Carol is with Daryl and Carol. Well, we're almost all caught up, because in the end of episode 2, yeah, Daryl and Carol went off. So I'm assuming between the end of episode 2 and the beginning of episode 3, Carol was kidnapped or whatever and found by the cops of the hospital and taken in. I don't know how her and Daryl got separated. We'll find out eventually. And it's tying into the current series of events in the show, with Daryl coming back to the group and who's ever in those bushes. We still don't know that yet, but we'll soon find out, I'm sure, within 2 episodes. But so now Daryl and Carol are at this hospital. Carol and Beth are at this hospital, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see where they're going to go from that. That was basically the whole episode, guys. Yeah, nothing really exciting, especially the first half. I got my notes here. I just want to make sure I mentioned everything, like I said. Yeah, there's a scene where they're talking about not wasting resources, blah blah blah. I don't know. The doctor sort of brings up Beth's slit wrists, which was pretty interesting. Other than that, yeah, that's about it. Okay, nothing really exciting. That's it. All right. So that was tonight's episode, guys. It was a little disappointing. I mean, I knew it was not going to be as good as episodes 1 to 3. I knew it wasn't going to be as good because that's when we had the whole group, and we had the whole conflict with the termites, and we had the introduction of Father Gabriel, who was at least an interesting character, and character with a very good backstory. So, we had that, and that all that was going very well with the first 3 episodes. But now we're focusing on just Beth, who is a good character on her own right, but just to have her and a whole bunch of new characters who they're just forcing upon us, as I felt that's what they were doing. I just didn't care for them, and I honestly got irritated by some of them. And the first half was very, very slow. It's very slow paced. I know it's build up, I know it's set up, but how long are they going to stick on this hospital subplot? If they're only going to talk about it for another 2 or 3 episodes, why do we need this build-up? I mean, I don't know. It's just, it feels unnecessary. And I kind of hope they don't linger on this hospital storyline. I want them to, they're in the hospital. You know, ever heard the saying, get in late, get out early? Well, they got in late into this hospital. 4 episodes into the show, they're in this hospital. Get out early. I want them out of this hospital. I don't want to see them focus on this hospital for like 2 or 3 episodes. It's going to bother me. But I have a feeling it's coming to a close because now we're almost caught up to present time. Nevertheless, getting into a rating, I'm going low, guys. I really didn't care for this episode. However, the second half did save it for me. I'm going 7.5 out of 10. It's just the story wasn't exciting, and I really didn't care for the characters, and I was often irritated by them, and that's honestly what brought my opinion of the episode down a little bit and made me just feel very empty. Like I felt wanting more after the first 30 minutes. Then, you know, we started to get into an exciting point in the episode, you know, and, you know, we got into this whole thing, this conflict going on between Dawn and Beth towards the end, and that's when things got a little more exciting. Other than that, the first half, you know, explaining things, exposition, blah, 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 building up these new characters that we don't care about. They're not going to last that long anyway on the show. I doubt it, unless they become the new antagonists or whatever, which I really hope doesn't happen. But I don't know. That's how I felt about the episode, guys. Very, very upsetting. But there were some decent aspects, like I said. There were some exciting moments. There were some very well-filmed moments, namely the escape the elevator shaft scene and the scene shot outside, which was shot very slow, in slow motion and all that. I really liked that. Emily Kinney was good in the episode, and the score, I was actually, you know, I was like kind of like zoning. I was like, oh boy, but I was listening to the score. The score, as it always is, very good by Bear McCreary. Other than that, guys, I really can't give anything to this episode. It just was, just a little bland, and I honestly was left wanting more from the first half. Other than that, guys, I'm thinking things are going to go pretty interesting in the next week's episode, because I think they're going to focus on Abraham, Rosita, Eugene, Glenn, and Maggie as they're heading to Washington, D.C. So we're going to get a break from this Slabtown hospital storyline. We're going to go on to that storyline, so I'm happy that they're going to transition week to week. That's good, at least, to keep us more excited. But leave your predictions, leave your thoughts on the episode down below, leave your predictions for the future storyline. How do you think Beth, Daryl and Carol got separated? And who do you think is with Daryl in the woods? Could it be Tyler James Williams, or could it be one of the cops? Or do you think it's Beth? I don't think it's Beth, but we have to wait and see. So anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and again, leave me your thoughts down below on the episode, and I'm really excited to know what you guys thought of it as well. Stay tuned for more videos coming this week, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.